YouTube, a YCS occurred, which is something you wouldn't really think to happen, since the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is run by a small indie company who unfortunately just don't have the funds. That's why they've put us into things like gem debts. So there was no coverage, there was no stream, there was no watch party. There was a MySpace blog. So if you follow Twitter and actually go on the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Twitter page, you would have found a blog like it's 2012, baby, showing you all of the coverage and stuff that happened at YCS Vancouver. Look at these feature matches. Finals was Steven Trivanovsky. So if you want to watch a YCS final unfold in text form, you can do that. So yeah, small indie company, but big shout outs to Triff, taking it down. And can I just say, listen, I know YouTube hates to get political and stuff, but Triff is donating $1,000 of his YCS winnings to Palestinian relief efforts. As you guys know, there is a ongoing, it's the G word. It is literally the G word, which I don't know if gets me demonetized on YouTube, but if you know, you know. So we've got a bunch of donations. $5,000 together almost has been amassed via the community. And it's just like absolute goated behavior. The first thing he does after he lifts his trophy is bring light to something like this. I mean, it actually makes me emotional. What a hero. What an absolute hero. But yeah, so that was the YCS Vancouver thing that happened. No one is Yu-Gi-Oh's biggest hater than Yu-Gi-Oh players and content creators, but it really is sad, you know. You see the difference here between the Vancouver venue and what's going on over here at the Pokemon. Obviously, World Championship can't be compared to a Canadian YCS. You know, the World Championship Yu-Gi-Oh was obviously huge, but just as a, you know, not trying to draw direct comparisons, but this is actually really cool. Konami. Pokemon have got, like, card holograms now. So I think the cards can be registered at the table just when they put them face down or something, and you can like visually see them in the freaking arena. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, the next step here at this point is literal holograms at this point. But anyway, here's the YCS Vancouver top cut. It is a third of the meta is Canine Vanquish Soul, about a quarter Yummy. We even got some Crystron Canine, a couple of Draco Tail decks. And a few of the previous decks there as well. Like there's a White Forest, Malice, Mitsurugi. Now, this really brings light to the question of what are we going to do with the ban list. There is going to be a list of men, which you will no longer be able to play. Some women as well probably won't be allowed to be played anymore. But I'm wondering what they're going to do when basically the old decks are sort of just like peripheral pseudo-rogue meta contenders at this point. Like Malice, Ryziel, Mitsu have all sort of, you know, faded to the periphery of the metagame. Not to say that they're bad decks or anything. But it is interesting that the ban list might really sort of just outright kill them, and then we're stuck playing these big 3, 4, depending on how you look at it. My favorite deck is Draco Tail. Love that. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be doing very well. But it is an incredibly powerful, cool deck. And Jesse actually has a deck profile, which we're going to watch real quick. I would like to check out this guy's as well. Shout out to Ahmed Ghazi. Habibi. What an absolute Habibi. Gotta love when the brothers get in top cut spots. I don't think he has his profile up. But it's Fiendsmith Canine Draco Tail. Now, this is a really cool deck. I played against this, and it just felt like I was being completely dumpstered on. So the whole idea is play on your opponent's turn with Phimina or Canine, and then on your turn, you have access to, obviously, Fiendsmith, which is super powerful. Now, the only restriction in this deck is Malulu and Rahu. Rahu being basically a pseudo-branded fusion, but the difference is that Rahu says you can't summon from the extra except fusions for the rest of the turn. So you want to use Rahu as your final play. And obviously not trigger Malulu unless you, once you're done through your XE Link plays. So it's not that restrictive, really. There is a lot of room to play it. Now, I don't really have experience testing all versions of Draco Tail, but just having played around with Draco Tail in general, it's absolutely not a bad take on the deck. So the only downside, quote-unquote, is just the lack of defensive cards. Only 8, quote-unquote, playing the best hand traps, Charmies and Nibiru, because the rest of your deck is just full engine. And ideally, you play on your opponent's turn with the K9 and the Faimina as pseudo hand traps. So, really cool deck. Triple Shaddoll Beast is very interesting. I wonder why people don't diversify the Shaddolls maybe a little bit more. So you can play like one Beast, one Skomata, and like one, maybe a Hedgehog or something if you're going to play all 3. Because they kind of all do the same thing. Like the Hedgehog replaces itself for a Beast, the Skomata can send a Beast rather than triggering it. Is the level actually relevant? Why is the level relevant? It's not like you're summoning it. Why is the level relevant? What card is doing that? The K9? Oh, it's because Jokul can summon, right? Oh, okay. Okay, this is a heavy K9 engine. Yeah, we're playing like 3 Jokul and Lantern as well. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Alright, that makes sense. Let's try to find Jesse's deck list. Apparently he did a video. My god! Oh, jeez, okay, 25 freaking minutes, Jesse. I got a lot of reacts to get through today, man. Yeah.
Hello guys, Jesse Cotton here, and we just got top 8 at YCS.
Alright, very good, Jesse, but I do kind of have a lot to get through today, so let's 1.5 this.
Fusion-based deck. All of your monsters will have an effect when they're fused away to set from deck a Draco Tail spell track. Some will have a little bonus effect on top. The dragons will
I think my audio is slightly too loud here.
Half and half. Yeah, so Lucius has effects like the rest.
This should be fine, right?
Lucius is on spellcaster, so it doesn't have a bonus effect. On its summon, it stratos for a Draco Tail monster. This deck has a little bit of a problem with not enough monsters in the deck, so anything that gets you somewhat started, you play 3 of. 3/5 mana, which is the most broken one. Also spellcaster, so no bonus effect confuses, but still searches a Draco Tail.
No, this is loud enough.
Phase discard, it's fusion summoning spellcaster dragon, so you can actually do stuff like
you just need to turn your own volume up.
Cool cards I play. I don't play Window, but we'll get to that soon. Malulu, so this one is a dragon.
Like a tiny bit.
After you search, you can negate the effect of one face of monster your opponent controls. I think face.
I just don't want to be able to like be drowned out when I speak here.
Dragons do not target, which helps you a lot when you're breaking fields and.
The non-targeting Malulu is crazy, by the way. I wonder if he's playing
Dragoon.
Dragoon.
During the main phase, quick effect, you can fusion summon a Draco Tail monster and then lock you in fusion. So it's like Partitio. However, it will lock you into fusions, which doesn't matter, and it's only Draco Tail cards, which, while not the biggest deal, can be important. Still, it's very good. It doesn't have to use itself material, but it can, and you will decide what you do. Obviously, it may seem good to use material that you search. When you have enough searches, you'll instead want to keep enough field that way you can use it as disruption to your opponent's turn. Next is 3 Draco Tail Pan. I'm not sure if I should play 3 this card. Whoa! And the OCG, it is normal to play 1 of this card. What it does, it's high level, so obviously it looks bricky, is that its bonus effect when it's fused with.
Holy!
Obviously, you can see that's very good. It's a lot of free value and great for breaking fields and preventing fields. And then,
I mean, I guess if you draw like Faimina Panic, could be like an FTK or something. You gotta bounce it a pop on your opponent's turn, like might actually just completely win the game.
So the reason people don't always play 3 of this card is it's obviously a brick. You need to be able to fuse it away for it to do anything. That being said, you own a fusion card, so you should play it.
I wouldn't say it's like a brick, but
play on your opponent's turn to Faimina fuse away this, like crazy strong. So yeah, love as you will play 1, but I want the 3 because I want to draw it, as well as you always want to end up in hand, so not having to search it is nice. Or if you
does look like he's playing King of the Swamp.
High chances of having 1 Urgula. So this is the other one that people are playing 1 of, but in TCG more people are playing more of this card. I think that's honestly fine. I haven't decided which one.
It is the definition of a brick.
This is better to play if you're getting like Holly Suit on turn 0. And it's better
I mean, fusion decks are weird to define in that way because they all kind of need to play with multiple cards. There isn't like a ton of like one card combos per se in most fusion decks.
You can put in the bottom of the deck to add back a spellcaster yourself from your grave. So
like if you don't draw a fusion spell, everything is a brick.
And then you get your quick fusion opponent's turn.
Right. So if you want to look at it that way. Anyway, that's like semantics, whatever.
So sending this to grave is like a +3 pop back row, set a card, and add this back, which is just nuts, obviously. Also, what's important here is when your opponent is summoning monsters in your first turn, this card can fusion summon if your opponent controls monsters, like Shaddoll Fusion. So by saving this for later on in the turn, if you search it later on, then you can pop the card to summon. But if you set off this at the start of the turn and don't pop anything, don't watch the turn, so you can't search again, then pop, it's gone. So this is monsters. This is not that I'm not playing. This deck doesn't have that many tools at disposal.
Yeah, like this deck like really focuses on monsters because you need to fuse monsters, and all your monster fusions are generic. You just have to fuse from the hand, which is why like hand traps, monster hand traps are like very good in Draco Tail, but Jesse going with like 3 pan is wacky.
Using a guy from your deck. So you can see why these.
There's the branded fusion.
Now you can argue that because these are effects that search these.
Doesn't look like he's playing Fiendsmith either. Or
sometimes the drawing spells in this deck can be bad.
Actually, no, I think he's doing engine by engine.
But importantly, this deck doesn't have enough starters for you to just not play 3 of each of these. And into some fields, it can be really good going second. That being said, drawing these going first can be a little awkward because it means when you get searches off these, they do less. And I got Dracotail, Horn, and Flame. So these cards are
I mean, there
actually
isn't
kind
a
of crazy, and I
one-card
guess
starter in
them.
Dracotail that isn't a Dracotail card that you can
targets
play,
a
right?
spell on
Like,
the field, and
like
negates
King of the
effect,
Swamp is like
and
the
then you
closest
can,
thing,
so I'm happy
maybe?
this is why it's generic.
Or literal
Place
Branded
Dracotail
Fusion
from
if you
your
want to play a
graveyard or
Branded
Band
engine,
Zone,
but I haven't really
bottom
seen
deck,
that
and draw one. So it's
dominating
negate and
the
then draw,
Dracotail
recycle.
deck building metagame.
And Regis recycle each other because it's also the same effects. Instead of negating a trap window, it bounces specifically an attack mode monster. So when you're playing against this deck, be careful. That being said, it can bounce your own cards as well, which comes up a lot as people will play around it. So just be very conscious of the fact that you'll oftentimes be bouncing your own card with this. And then again, you place one on the bottom of the deck to draw one, so these will cycle each other in theory. And this is why people like to Ash Rebel, because if you...
Ooh, he's playing Cartesia.
One, then in theory, they're cut off infinite loop, which isn't the main game plan of this deck, but it can be. Now, there's one different thing about my deck, and that is Cartesia.
Well, two,
I don't
okay.
know if I call this that different, but I'm into Cartesia. So the reason is, one Spellcaster synergizes with Dracotales, some being Spellcasters. It gives you more ways to fuse, because too many times I find myself having a way to fuse, or only one, and we get ashed, and you just lose. So I need to specifically...
Obviously, Jesse's gonna know way more than me, but anytime I played Cartesia, I just found myself bricking on like multiple normals, because you have 3 Lucas, you have Malulu potentially, and then you add Cartesia. That's 8 normal summons, is quite a lot mathematically in your opening hand to draw 2. Obviously, you can just fuse away the other ones, but if the initial fusion summons get stopped or negated, then drawing multiple normals in your hand, like, it's terrible. Like, you normal summon Cartesia, you activate the fuse, and then they negate, and then you're just like you have a Malulu in your hand now, or a Lucas, and they just don't do anything, you know. It's weird, which is why I think like King of the Swamp has been working really well for me personally, but I've only played this deck for an afternoon, so
2 more cards to fuse, and that's what these are. And unlike something like King of the Swamp, you can be more flexible with how it's used. And if you
better
don't
than the
fuse
Patrick
this,
package, because Droll.
I
I feel like Droll's kind of fallen off a little bit. It's more of a side card now, right? Mostly for Vanquish Soul.
Very good. Why not 3? Because
At least like the couple of lists I've seen today didn't main Droll.
I do play 3rd in the side deck though. The rest of this deck is all hand traps. There's a fusion monster that returns.
Looks like
cards
Nibiru's
from
and
your hand. So hand traps
Charmies.
this deck are very potent, so you cycle them back. As well as your fusions can use any monsters.
Confuse
so,
on your opponent's
hand
turn
traps work
Cartesia.
great.
Yeah, but
This deck
then you're
fell off most
just
of the
passing on
Components, and
Cartesia.
not
Like, that's not a whole
in
lot of
general, you
disruption.
can't
They
beat
can
the
force
VS
with
deck.
battle
Just because
phase.
the
Like,
Ripper and Azuna are very powerful. There's 2 schools of thought though to handling that. You could either cut down on hand traps and graveyard effects and play like Yummy does, and some game states with breakers and stuff. Have a better engine yourself. Or you play so many hand traps, then negating with Ripper or having Azuna, you just overwhelm them. So it's the same way you played against Snake Eye, where to beat Appaloosa, you just literally push through the Appaloosa. And that's how I built this deck, which I think is not too common, and I'm not sure why. This deck cannot be built with breakers, because obviously the entire deck is graveyard effects and hand effects. So trying to avoid playing graveyard hand effects in this deck is just impossible. And ideally versus Ripper, you want to resolve 1 of 2 cards. It's a Famina to fuse.
oh, he's playing 3,
Or the
okay.
Nibiru. Nibiru was probably one of the best cards.
I like
in the deck.
Nibiru.
This card is just crazy. You want to put the token in attack if you can, without, as long as it doesn't kill you. That way you can bounce it back with trap. There are a lot of matchups you want Nibiru during your own turn, so you can bounce it back. You can nib, bounce it back, and over again, or you kill them like nib, summon some fusions, trap, bounce their token, attack the game. Happens a lot as well. This card is the best card like in the deck. It feels like. Next up, 6 Charmies.
Did not realize. So you can bounce your own cards with Flame?
Drawing these dead is not a big deal.
Never came up for me.
Sometimes you'll just you won't shotgun things, because if it never ends up being good, you'll just fuse with it. 3 Ash is actually the worst hand trap, but there aren't enough hands where this card can solo, and then looping Ash in simple game states is broken. But I never got to do that. 3 Veilers.
Ash is
and
really
Slowers. The
weak,
reason
but
why
yeah,
these are
like
the same.
recycling in this deck is so based.
What I found is when they summon Ripper, you need a card that beats Ripper, because you need to force the negate on it, and then that way your Famina or Nib can resolve. And there's a couple cards that in theory can do this. So Ghost Mourner can do this. Ghost Reaper can hit Ripper.
Does Ogre stop the Ripper negate? Like, is it one of those detach for effect type of cards?
You could play Canine Package. I went for these because they were flexible. Veiler's the best to loop with to add back to my hand, because it needs more than one in one turn.
No, okay.
As well as it's just super flexible. It's a spellcaster, and it can still hit the Ripper. Not counting for a Made of Lupus, but still. Ogre is because, even though Ogre and Ripper's effect doesn't feel that good, it gets the negate off the field. Ironically, these combo well together, even if they have Lupus under it, Ogre, Veiler, eat both materials, then you can Veil them, and just pretty much like you're Gamma-ing it, or Orange Lighting it. And it's just still forced Ripper, because even if they don't use the effects, then it's gone, and that's a good thing. That being said, this card is still worse. I've seen the 2 hand traps, that's why I put it in there. Now, there's a couple things to note. For one, the other reason why this card's better than something like Ghost Mourner is this deck has a hard time against the Canine cards sometimes. So specifically what you want to look out for, or if you're playing against the deck as well, if you can summon a Canine Ripper that is untargetable on the Dracotail player's first turn with Azuna, it's really annoying, because that immediately beats the Famina, and that slows down my capacity a lot, as well as it gives you follow-up, and it's a hard time. So, or even ranking up at the Typhon's not bad either, because my Fusion's 3000, my main one. So Ogreing not the Azuna, the Lupus is very powerful, which is the other reason why 2 is there.
What's the best
Now,
Ogre
the reason why
target
Canine
against
cards
Yummy?
is, yes, they are hand traps that would fit this deck's game plan, but it's not extra space. Extra space is not tight. It's actually because when you're building a deck, you want to think with purpose in mind. The purpose of each card in this deck is deliberate. The reason for these hand traps, remember I said, I need them to beat Ripper. And while in theory his unit does bait Ripper because you can make Nash Knight to steal it, it's also more fragile. Because if they have like a Dr. Mavlo on field, or a Caesar on field, or any removal, their own Ghost Ogre, then your Azuna no longer checks the Ripper because the other card will be the Ripper. And any astute player will know, like with Appaloosa, it's probably bait, they have one to not negate the hand traps if they can, especially the low impact. In that case, Ripper accomplishes what he needs to less often. It's also worse than Yummy, for what it's worth. It is definitely way better than Mirror Match though. So I decided that for that reason there's no K9 cards. If I expected a lot more mirror matches, I'd probably side deck the K9 cards, and that's terrible versus PS, but they didn't really do exactly what I wanted either, so that's why I ended up here. So Arthalion, Arthalion, honestly I can't decide how to pronounce it. This is the best.
It's really interesting. Jesse's list is not that like crazy. Normally you expect Jesse to come up with like some wacky like brews, but it's fairly standard other than the 3 pan really, right?
And then return them to the hand. So this is how you're gonna loop back your own hand traps and fusion material, as well as.
I mean, which is fair enough. It's a very technical deck.
For whatever reason, sometimes come up with and then also
it's really cool in some way. Like Dracotail is like, I feel like quite a low skill floor. Like you can kind of get into it and just, you know, make your 2 fusions and you're good.
While it's not huge,
but it's also got a lot of skill expression in when you use your Femina, when you trigger certain card effects, what your first, second, sometimes third search is, as you plan ahead turn 2 into 3. So it's really cool that way. So I mean, yeah, he just played fairly standard list. It's just hand traps, no K9, no Fiendsmith, no King of the Swamp, no Dragoon, no Shaddols either, right?
That way you can get the pop through. Sometimes not doable, but yeah, this card is flawed, though it is good still. Mysterion is in theory really important, and existing is important for decks to play around, but it's not as good as it may seem. This requires a dragon.
I think the fusion stuff is going to be fair. Fairly standard. Whoa, hello.
Now you can revive it.
I haven't seen anyone play this.
Malulu or Cartesia, and then never got to summon this, but it's in the graveyard to fuse it away. Now you can revive it and search off it. Very good card. Like I debated playing 2 almost. Billy Regis. This card's cool. So this card requires a level 7 higher dragon and a dragon fusion, and then main phase only quick effects. Target a monster as a card. One card your opponent controls or in their grave, and then banish it. However, if you banish the card from the field, then you have to bounce back a dragon from fields, your fields to your hand. So, yeah, but it's good for disrupting graves, which otherwise deck doesn't have much of.
It is literally just a Dragon Maid card without Dragon Maid in the name.
It can revive itself at the starting point of battle phase. That never come up for me, but yeah. Those are the fusions. Then I'm playing Typhon. Grind game, hand traps, makes sense. Spirit Dies of Blue. So the reason to play this is Herbatic.
This is one of the few decks that Typhon might be really good in, by the way.
Obviously, it's a bounce. And as part of the dragon deck, you're going to summon Malulu, and Malulu lets you fuse, right? So it's obviously a lot of disruption. That being said, you don't always have
Seal into Malulu is like so freaking dopamine, dude.
Spellcaster, now it's a dragon, and then you throw into this. It's the only reason you play it. I never did a one-self tournament, but it's important to have as an option. Artemis, this card is the least important card of the deck. I almost wasn't playing. Actually,
ooh, Cross Sheep.
But this turns Spellcaster into a link, so you can make a speed. Celine's also not very good. Idea here is if you know Blink Fodder, this can get more than 6 counters.
See, I was playing Artemis, and you guys told me to cut it. Like, if you can't make Spirit because that doesn't let you SP. I was playing Artemis. You guys convinced me to cut it. To be fair, my extra deck was a lot heavier because I had like Dragoon and Winda, so the space was tighter.
Perfect. So you can revive Lucius on the opponent's turn, and more searches. Cross Sheep's actually really important. So yeah, when you summon a fusion monster, or monster summons 1 points, you get points of fusion or revive monster in your grave, so you can revive one of your effects you haven't got to use this turn. And this is like how you can link into this, but it never comes up. Importantly, what happens sometimes is if you have one of these in your grave that can revive itself, you can link 2 for Cross Sheep, revive one of the fusions, and then this triggers to revive again, and it restarts your cycle even if your field is like Nib plus Fua loss, which I've done, right? So top deck Fua can't.
Can you, that's really crazy, actually. This is like a combo. It's like a Masquerena almost. You like fuse like Arthur into like Cross Sheep zone, bounce, trigger, revive, get a pop.
I might lose weight, never mind, normal fluid, link with Nib, make this, revive this. I'm good. And that's me, obviously. Your fusions have very few lingering effects on field, so you don't need to keep them on field half the time. Okay, side deck. So I didn't main deck this card because Charmy is way too conflicting, even though in theory you can fuse away the dead ones. I thought about it, but it's okay.
What is Ghost Bell really good against? It's good. It's insane against Dracotail for a specific interaction, isn't it?
The other cards that I put in going first are 2 Fenrirs and the 3rd Cartesia.
Based!
So the idea is I have 6 going first cards to deck. This fills the role for most matchups.
What? 9 normal summons going first? 3 Cartesia? Jeez, that's so many normal summons.
3rd Cartesia because it's really going first. You some more consistency. I left me 2 spots left. I decided Fenrir because Fenrir is good into Retaliancy, which is a problem for this deck, even though I haven't had me once. As well as Fenrir gets you another copy of itself to fuse away. Also, importantly, versus Yummy, that deck isn't very good against strong attack monsters that don't start a chain, and Fenrir summoning attacking is very good. That can then later hit the field spell, which will hurt their grind game. So,
dude, if you Fenrir the field spell against Yummy, they actually just like cry. It's insane.
Fenrir's super solid. Always going first. Put this in, and some matchups going second. Well, you don't put this in going second all the time. Some people main deck this card, and it's not terrible, but again, the focus of the deck is hand trap based, which is why it's only going first in most matchups. Lancia, you're going to play versus Malice. And this would go in instead of Drolls against Malice going first, obviously. And remember, because you can cycle back your hand traps infinitely, if you see Lancio once, you win the game. Versus Malice, even if you can't kill them. Then there's
that is so degenerate,
man. Mirror match side of the Charmies Ogres before because they're a little weird. You can win a grind game easily by cutting off the traps. They can't cycle infinitely anymore. Because these do put in the bottom of the deck, they are used to bell as well.
Oh, you're supposed to bell the trap against the mirror?
Well, they're good versus Yummy hitting the synchros, so that means fine. Last different Tasmays. I needed to side out some stuff. I wanted some more hand traps versus Vanquish Soul and Yummy. It's very good versus Yummy in general. And Vanquish Soul, it's not great because it didn't waste someone rocks, but I put it in because it pairs with all the hand traps, force them to weird game states and make rocks, and this card is fantastic. It's also a dragon, importantly, so you can fuse some nice stuff with it. And yeah, and ideally what I'm doing versus the Drake deck, or the Vanquish Soul deck, is siding down on some of the spells, because you want to search them, not really draw them. And when you're drawing off Charmies and Phantasmes, you don't want to duplicate. I side up this.
Alright, very cool.
Because if you're able to fuse in the first turn, it's when you get a spell, so you're going to get a rank up spell, which is important. Where this
Yo, he's out here vlogging, dude. Let's go.
And then you should never need both traps. You can argue to play none, but I do like having the one trap.
Alright, shout outs to Jesse, honestly. Not like the coolest list of all time, but again, I think it's like a super technical deck, and I think he just plays it really well. And I think that's how you get a lot of value in this. Like, Arthur target the right hand traps or the right resources. Like, sometimes you get in situations where Arthalion is like, shit, should I add back a fusion play so that I can get a set for turn 3, or do I want to add back like a Veiler so that I can recycle it to use it again as a disruption? Would I give myself more? Like, there's a lot of like decision making and stuff. So it's a really cool deck, really, and I've been really enjoying it. But yeah, it is kind of just a simple version. I wish he was playing some funny shit like Dragoon, but funny doesn't win events, I suppose. Keep watching. Am I gonna miss something? It's just I'm short on time today because I want to look at Triff's list. I mean, to be fair, there isn't much to say about Triss because I have no idea what Yummy does.
Because this card hits the,
and he doesn't post the video.
This card Loki ended up being better than this one. That is the idea, though, behind this deck. I was really happy with it, and I know this may seem like a simple solution-style deck, but I was happy with it. Now, one last thing you may notice, between my main side, I play 0 spells or traps, unless for the dark side ones, including Prosperity. There's no fusion opponents for TCG either, no branded fusions. The reason is rather simple. You need monsters in hand to fuse for these. Oftentimes, you have to make the choice to fuse by a hand trap, and that's okay. But if you deny yourself that option, you will brick yourself a lot more often. And the deck can be bricky, but honestly, if you just don't play spells and traps in your deck, the bricking happens a lot less. But okay, guys, that was the deck. I'm super happy with it, and I really like this deck. I'm probably going to keep playing it for the foreseeable future. So
yeah, I mean, that's the idea with the hand traps, right? Just fusion materials or disruption, they work as both.
On how to build this deck, because I think it is far from solved just yet. And see you guys in the next YCS. Peace. All right, so
this is the best thing about the deck as well. It's like it's still not solved. Like, people still don't know like what the best version of this. Someone topped with Fiendsmith K9, Jesse topped with pure hand traps. Like, I've seen Dragoon, I've seen like Shadow heavy engines. There's like probably even wackier things like heavier branded lists. You can kind of just play anything really, I suppose, with this deck, and it's a nice little mix up. All right, am I watching like the vlog part here? What is going on?
And the Shadows don't help that. And that's why we end up focusing more on hand traps instead.
What is going on? Like, he recorded his deck profile, left the venue, and then just had more thoughts? That's really funny.
There is one thing I forgot to mention as far as deck choices.
Can you show us the grass, Jesse? You need to go touch it, okay? You've already topped the YCS. Relax.
So another popular way of playing this deck is with Shadow cards. The deck can fuse with just about anything, any monster in hand. So any graveyard effects is, in theory, valuable, as you can put it in grave very easily. So even something like Keldo and Medora can be useful. Now, to some extent, these are win more, because the idea is to summon it during your opponent's first turn with 5 mana. You should already be doing really well if you have that set up.
Keldo Medora in this deck? That's so funny.
The other problem is Wind Up, but Wind Up's not really good in any deck right now, so I didn't feel like it was really that special. Now, Shaddolls are very simple value. Shaddol Be Strong is very good. Shaddol Dragon can pop back, which is solid. Hedgehog, another Shaddol. And then obviously you can add them back off Arthalon, giving you more fusion material. However, these cards are all just worse than resolving and Dragon Tail effects. So playing more Panzer Urglos, for example, they are just less value. And the thing is, you could just...
Sorry, I'm still just like...
You don't, right?
Astonished that he decided to have more thoughts outside the venue. Like, alright guys, we're back with deck profile part 2.
Cartesias, which are engine because they provide fusion summoning, or taking on hand traps. This is where it's important to deck build with purpose, right? So again, it's understanding this deck's strengths, its weaknesses, and what I'm looking for in my extra card slots to finish the deck. So I'm looking for cards to help with beating Ripper, going second, and the Shaddolls don't help that. And that's where I end up focusing more hand traps instead. Or my other weakness is bricking. So I need cards.
Alright, I'm going to pause it there because I do have a lot to get through today. But yeah, that's Jesse's list. Shoutouts to him. And yeah, that was his take on Dracotail, and this was Ghazi's here. Just the powerful hand traps and pure engine. Interesting to play both. I want to say that I feel like playing this version might be easier in some way. Because if you have like a Veiler and an Ogre, you need to be very precise and specific about when you use your card effects. Whereas in a heavy engine build, you kind of just like try and overpower your opponent by raw strength. And there's a lot less like maybe like format knowledge necessary for that. So this might be better for me currently. Because like if I have like an ogre and a veiler in my hand, I might sit there and I might just be like, I don't really know what I should be hitting here, you know? Like, and if you miss time like a veiler, like it can just absolutely cost you the game. So, yeah. So yeah, that's the that's Vancouver. I don't think Triff posted a video, unfortunately. So yeah. All right, that's some TCG stuff. Not much to look at. Unfortunately, Konami decided not to show us the event. In fact, MySpace was the only place to check out YCS Vancouver. Really happy about the production quality. Things have been on the up for us, clearly, as a community. Woo! All right, bye-bye.